So let's just consider what might be included within a typical session. Now, the first thing, as we've already noted, is that there could be a large variation, both in terms of the duration of the practice. We say generally somewhere from 15 to 45 minutes, and also in terms of the what could be included and the difficulty, if you like, of the practice. That can vary enormously. But there are some things that are generally standard, I guess we could say. First thing is we are largely working with the body. So this involves certain movements, certain exercises, if you like. And there are a number of yoga postures that people have often heard of or seen pictures of. So the practice will include a certain number of simple movements or postures. And as I say, these can vary in their difficulty and intensity, from something that's very challenging down to something that would simply be sitting in a chair, raising and lowering an arm, for example. However, what makes it yoga really is the way that we emphasise both the breathing that you do with these movements, whether they be simple or challenging, and also about the quality of involvement and attention that you bring into it. Yoga should be a meditative practice, so it's not necessarily about what you can do physically. It's really very much more about the involvement and the attitude that you bring to the practice, which makes the most profound difference. So some simple exercises involving regulated, smooth, even breathing, and we explain how to do that. It's not always something that comes completely naturally. There is a technique that you can learn. So that might seem counterintuitive, but in the way that we use the breath in yoga practice, there are specific techniques that you learn. The other thing that we might include would be seated breathing exercises, specific seated breathing exercises, and also maybe periods of rest and relaxation. There are a number of other elements that might be brought in depending on somebody's particular interests. So sometimes we work with simple sounds, not necessarily, but we can do. We might make some other suggestions around the theory of yoga. We might suggest some simple ideas from the philosophy and yoga tradition. And we might even make some simple suggestions about lifestyle and diet. But the heart of the practice is likely to be these simple movements coordinated with breathing, and which ideally require you to be very, very present and very, very involved. There's a lot of talk of mindfulness right now, and really we could think about the practice of yoga, particularly within this approach, as being very much about mindful movement.